So my daughter decided she wanted to get her braids done for back to school, and she wants a bit of a wild color this time. Let me show you what she wants to get. Hold on. Before we start, I feel like there's always somebody that needs a little bit of coaching because number one, this is not your child. She's mine. Number two, she's in high school and she's not employed. Those are two very important points because the colors that she wants to do are these two colors here. When are you supposed to be able to wear wild colors? If not, when you are in your youth and unemployed, because as soon as you start being employed, you can't do any of that. And I need some folks to just wrestle with the fact that you don't like colorful hair, and that's okay for you, but it doesn't negate what other people wear. There's always somebody. So for that somebody in the comments, that was for you. Anyway, the brand is Spectra. This one here, we did do the one where it has a little bit darker up top just because we won't be putting any color in her hair for the sake of her hair's health. And then it does go down to the brighter tones towards the end. I like the fact that it is multi-tonal. The blue is the same situation. And she wants to go ahead and have me blend the two for something in the middle. Let me set up and then we'll get started. All right, so I'm gonna begin by separating out this hair, and you can see I'm starting off with the green hair because she wants the green hair on the bottom. I do have a braiding rack like this linked on the video if you need it. From there, I also have this wristband, and this is the gel that I am using. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out with a popsicle stick. Why? Because sanitation. We don't need dirty fingers up in there. I'm gonna start parting off in the nape here, and I want you to see how I apply the braiding gel. Notice I put it on the hair, not on the scalp. I'll get it close, but we're not slathering the scalp with braiding gel because it's not for your scalp. And if you have someone with something like seborrheic dermatitis, that can make scalp conditions significantly worse. From there, I'll use that to like control flyaways, slick the hair, things like that. But I'm not using it like it's a grease. I don't really use greases on the scalp. It's not really great for the hair. I've already skipped to the second layer, and I want you to see how I'm bricklaying the braids here. What that means is the space that is in between the braids, I want to put a braid there on the next row up. And that just kind of helps to fill in any gaps, especially if someone's hair is thin or fine, which she has a ton of hair, so it doesn't really apply as much to her, but it helps out with making the hair look less sparse. The process of me adding the hair in looks like this here. I'm gonna take off and separate in 3 sections, pinching underneath, and I'm going to immediately start adding in hair here, pulling that strand over to the right and adding in, pushing up to the scalp, coming under 1 and 2, and then we'll add in again to that same piece that I'm pinching. If it's difficult for you to see from this angle, don't worry, I'll show it again from a better angle here in just a moment. But I want you to see exactly how this process looks. Now I add the hair in this way so I can add in just 3 strands, and so the braid is pretty even from top to bottom. I'm not personally a fan of like those braids that start out really thin and then get rather bulky as you go down. I feel like it takes away that more natural looking feel that comes with knotless braids. The other nice thing about knotless braids is that you can pretty much immediately start lifting that hair up in different directions without quite as much tension as you would have with a standard braid with hair added in there, which to me is definitely a plus. You can also see the benefit to having the darker tone at the top of this hair is it makes it much easier to blend with her hair color. And that way I don't have to worry about trying to lighten her hair and put color on it and all that to try to blend with these colors that she's wanting, because while she may want these colors, we don't want to damage her natural hair in the process. So this allows us to still kind of keep that integrity there without having to worry about all that. Now you can see again how these braids are falling directly in between the braids underneath, and that way it just kind of helps to fill in the gaps so you're not seeing a ton of scalp there. Also, you saw me lift? Yeah, it has a much nicer range of motion. Same situation from this side. This angle is a little bit better. So you can kind of see I separate out into 3 strands, come under and pinch. I'm adding in hair between my 2 fingers there. That top portion gets added into that right strand. And then push up to the scalp, grip again. Same situation, adding in my second strand here. Come underneath, adding in my 3rd strand here. And that's pretty much the whole situation. I like it this way because I don't have to worry about adding in a ton of different pieces of hair. I can focus on adding in 3, and then from there I can just braid. And the only time that I've ever really had to do that differently is like, let's say if I needed a longer length of hair and had to add in later. I honestly prefer though to just purchase the length of hair that I want to work with, because ain't nobody got time to be adding 11 pieces of hair into one braid, baby. And y'all see my other child back there doing the most in that doggone living room. Ain't no telling what she has going on. It's jumping and kicking and stuff over here, doing some karate in front of the TV. From there, I'm gonna go ahead, because she wants more of an ombre type look, so I am going to blend these two colors together in the middle. We're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of each one, and then I'm going to stack them together and begin separating. And you basically do this until you get the blend that you want out of that hair. This is totally up to your preference or the preference of the person whose hair you're doing. I did want to make sure it was a bit more blended while still kind of having some dimension in there. So you will see some highs and lows in it, but it still will be rather well blended at the end. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is the final blend that I got here. Don't ask me why I was 50 shades of off camera, but you can see at the end as well, and I'll bring it back down. I love the dimensionality of it, and you can see how different it looks from the bottom portion. It gives a very nice gradient to allow for the blend between the top portion where she wanted the darker blue and the bottom portion where she wanted the green. Once I get to the top of the head, I go ahead in this section in the crown and I start parting straight across. I'll do that for 2, sometimes 3 rows, and then I go ahead and do it as she would part it in the front. I realize that probably seems weird because you've got those 2 triangle braids on the sides, but when I tell you, like, when it's finished, you don't even notice that, and it falls really nicely. I just make sure that my partings match up and it still falls in between the braids like I would do any other section. When I'm completely done, it looks like this here. Now, of course, we've got to do something with these ends, so I can't have her just walking around with those ends loose like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and detangle this hair. Once I get this hair detangled, we'll start rolling and dipping and all of that. And that way I can get her hair ready to curl. Now I'm using flexi rods. This first one will be sped up. I'll show you in a minute how I'm doing it a little bit slower so you can kind of see, but I'm doing it like it's going around a curling wand, not like that hair is going around a curling iron. And it's gonna give a very nice beachy fall to the hair, which I absolutely love. So on this one, regular speed, I want you to see how I'm twisting my wrist and bringing that hair around the flexi rod, rather than just bringing it flat around like you would for a curling iron. And we're gonna do this as close as possible, so I don't wanna drag it down the flexi rod. If you wrap it tight, it falls more consistently when you're done. We're gonna go ahead and bend on bottom and top, and I'll do this through the entire remainder of her head, as you can see here. Once we get past that point, I'm gonna go ahead and dip her hair. This is boiling hot water, so I've got a towel on her. Don't mind me putting my hands in there. I'm a hairstylist. My hands are very impervious to heat. I don't recommend that you put your hands in boiling hot water, okay? Don't do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip each of these sections, and then while it's cooling, I will be going ahead and applying product and things to the rest of the hair, as well as a little bit of product to her scalp to help keep it from itching. I'm gonna be using the Locks and Braids Foam Control. By the way, this video is not sponsored. I just wanted to try out these products, and I will say I was satisfied with how they turned out. I'm putting enough on here to coat these braids pretty well, and this is gonna help out with potential flyaways and helping to give those braids some memory. So if she shampoos, things like that later, it just kind of helps it to hold together a bit better. She was able to wear these braids for quite some time with no frizz whatsoever, which was very lovely. She wore them for about a month. Now, I feel like she could have gotten more wear out of them, but she gets bored really easily, and she has a hairstylist for a parent. So yeah, the other one was a braid spray. I sprayed on her scalp. It helps out with itching and hydrating the scalp. Look when I unwrap, gorgeous waves. So you can see as I'm doing that, I'm just unwrapping the opposite from how I wrap that hair up, and we'll let these fall. The final look is going to be very nice and beachy, like I said. I absolutely love the way that these curls turned out on the bottom. Once I take all of this down, I am going to trim her hair a bit even with a razor. I know you can't see it on camera, but that's exactly what's happening. You can use shears or razor for this, whatever you're comfortable with, but it's just to kind of make it look less thin. My ice machine back there doing the most, don't mind that.
Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Okay, I'm loving it. Like when I move, they like bounce.
I think it's safe to say that she absolutely loves how they turned out. Let me know what you think down below. I think that the blend is really nice, and I'm really satisfied with how this turned out, and it still has a nice gradient from the darker at the top to the lighter at the bottom.